talking about the illegal aliens, and they say the reason Obama's doing this because his popularity has gone down among the blacks and everybody else. So if he lets all these illegals in, that's going to, of course, give him votes when he needs it. But then someone said, well, why would you be separating mother from child if you send them back? But that's the idea that half of them have when they come here, get pregnant, and then they're under that, so they don't have to be that.
That's the first thing, like in Sullivan, Knox County, we have a big melon area there, so we have this hundreds of them come up through picking melons and tomatoes. That's the first thing they do. They try to get an American girl to hook up with and get married, and they stay, you know.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then again, I said they got their own maps. They know exactly where the county hospitals are located. That has to serve them for free. I mean, they go through the whole thing. I mean, it's amazing how, I mean, they're very educated in where they do and where they go. You know, the federal government down in my area, we built great big, it looks like the old 1950s and 60s string hotels or motels, and they're all air conditioned, and they get to live in there free while they're here. You know, I think they cost like almost $700,000 a piece, you know, to build the facilities for them. And I did it, I don't know, just, you know, here the government's building the free housing for them to bring them up here, you know, and then they turn around and it just.
Don't you think this new approach where they're only going to prosecute the high-profile, quote, high-profile immigration criminals is the first step or the big step into what everybody else is talking about? Because illegal immigration is a criminal offense. And if you say, well, we're only going to prosecute the high-profile cases, you're ignoring a bunch of criminal offenses, and that's just setting up the stage for what these people have been talking about tonight.
Well, it's like I said, when I was a sheriff back in 1984, we'd have, you know, 5 or 6 every year that we would arrest on serious felony charges, and the states wouldn't come and get them, you know, NIS wouldn't come and get them, so you have to just sit there and after 45 days, you'd have to turn the list back on the puppet again. I mean, and that's when that guy was going up down the train lines. Remember killing all them people?
Yeah.
Everything just amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to question on the state level. What's the real reason behind I-69?
That was clear back when Owen was in office. I mean, that area, I mean, where it's going is already designated. I mean, we knew that all the meetings we had in Terre Haute, you know, 41 I-70 and all that, just all smoke and mirrors. I mean, it was already designated back years ago where it's going. The only thing right now where we thought it was going to go into Indianapolis, that tie in, that, you know, several of the legislators blocked that right now, you know, so to get it moving. But, you know, it's going to bring, you know, that SSP highway that you keep talking about. Have you heard anything about it yet? Or, but it started back in Bush administration, and it's a major, like a 6-lane highway. It runs all the utilities down and everything. They'll connect Mexico and Canada, come right through here. They'll tie in I-69 and all that too.
Well, it seems to me like just making an open highway from Mexico into our country.
Right. Well, on that SSP highway, if you look at the map on it now, the first checkpoint's in Kansas. So I mean, they're all the way through Texas. They could be dropping stuff off all the way through there. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, common sense plays no place in government. I found that out the first year I was up there. I mean,
So why is our government pushing?
Pardon?
Why is our state government pushing that completion of that highway?
Well, I mean, a lot of us wasn't, but I mean, that's just, it was coming no matter what happened. Like I said, we could do resolutions all day long. Like I said, like in Washington, D.C. and things like that on the funding. Right now, a lot of our state highways around here, it's built on a 10-year segment where you resurface and rebuild them every 10 years. And now because I-69, like 154 over there, it's falling apart. It's in its 11th year right now, and it's going on. So I mean, our country people are going to pay a serious price on the infrastructure out here. So the first thing when businesses come in, they look at the infrastructure, you know. And that just deteriorates out through the countryside, so we keep building these super highways like they're doing. We can't maintain, you know, what we got now. So.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Why do you want to build an I-69 from Mexico to Canada when you can't even take care of I-70 up here?
Right.
I-69, I-65. We can't take care of what we got. What we gonna build more for?
With this in bridges, last time I checked, I think it was, guy said over $1 billion in emergency need in bridges across our state, you know. I mean, it just, on state highways, we had a bridge on 63 that actually had 12-inch wood pillars holding it up. You know, you got school buses and semis crossing it and things for several years. I just couldn't believe it. And we finally got, it took us about 3 years to finally, a bunch of screaming to finally get it fixed, you know. But, it just, yeah.
Well, why isn't our legislature made more of a deal out of that and trying to stop O'Bannon from doing all these things? To me,
Well, we
he's
did,
like-
I mean, in the papers, you know, a lot of it was against that, you know, there's I mean, so many things a legislature can do, you know. You can go out and talk to people in churches, that's what we did, but you just can't, just like the tea parties right now. You would think to what's going on in our country right now, there'd be a lot more people really upset with, you know, with the government and
But
be
don't
bigger
you-
crowds.
Don't you guys get together and try to decide whether what he's proposing is?
Oh, yeah, we
good or not?
do. But you get, what happens is, on some of the things that we try to do, in the past, what would happen, they would take millions of dollars out of your building projects in your district. You know, I mean, they'll point, they'll single people out during, you know, who's involved in that. And then they say, well, you want to hold on to your leadership position. You know, you better sign off or get off this thing, and they bail out. You know?
That's when you guys should really hit the news media and blow that over the.
Well, it was in if you remember on the Indianapolis Star, they had a big segment back then. It had the State House on the front page with a great big for sale sign on it. You know, it did, but it went for a short period of time, and then of course went back to normal. You know, yeah.
When I was a teenager, I was Mexican labor. I worked out in the farm fields, 6 days a week, 7 to 7. And nowadays, teenagers, they have to get a work permit and all this other garbage. If we want to get rid of the Mexicans coming up here, one way we could do it is letting our teenagers get out and do things without all this red tape. Don't you agree?
I do agree. But the other problem we have,
We've got plenty of teenagers in the summertime, they're sitting at home looking at TV.
playing going like this all day
Instead of
long.
getting out to work.
Yeah, but we do have some the kids down there that work the fields. But what happens is, and they'll tell you, the Mexicans, I mean, they treat them horrible. They don't want them in the fields, and it keeps them from, you know, what's it, I mean.
When I was out in the fields, there were Jamaicans, you know, black guys from Jamaica, the Isle of Jamaica, with the English accents. And
We've had them down there. The labor contractors, it's a form of slavery. Because what happens is you got a labor contractor that goes in and bids so much on so many people, you know. So these buses start coming in. We had a bunch of Jamaicans down there, in '87, I think, or '88. That's the first year in Sullivan County we busted a bunch of them on rock cocaine. And what the labor contractor's brother that was traveling with him was a drug dealer, and they bring their own women with them, they bring everything with them. So what happens is, they keep the books while they're out in the field, they use the rock or, you know, the cocaine smoke hit, and then they come back in the booze and the women, and the time at the end of the week, they might have 20 bucks left in their pocket, you know. I mean, the two guys, that one guy looked like Mr. T, he had chains all over him. I mean, he just had gold stuff over there, but when we took him to jail that night, what started it, one of the Jamaicans down there, they had a fight down there, and his fingers were actually cut off and just hanging by just a piece of flesh. And he didn't feel it, didn't even have any clue he was so high, you know, but he was swinging it, you know, talking and swinging his hand around, blood was flying everywhere. And that's what finally got us involved in it, and then the drug dogs came in and they found, you know, the stuff and everything and made the arrest. But that was the first rock cocaine that we'd ever had in Sullivan County that we knew of at that time.
are the people here willing to let teenagers get out and work, you know, in the fields, or do we want to have all this red tape and all this? I mean, Why don't the teenagers get out and work? Why don't the parents say, hey, go out and work for the farmer? And don't use the Mexicans, like down the Waterman fields, down Vincent's and so forth. They got plenty of teenagers in Knox County. How about it? What does it take?
Main reason that is, sir, because it doesn't pay $25 an hour.
Right.
Well, the teenagers can, I think they'd be willing to work for less. If their parents say, you go out and,
But we're gonna, this in our tax structure, business tax structure. I mean, we're a lot less, than Illinois is right now. I was talking to a friend of mine over in Southern Illinois that said we're going to have to put the stoplight on the Wabash River because, and then this next year, there's gonna be a lot of corporations coming this way because of it'd be about a 7%, decrease in taxes. So what's killing us as Americans right now is the corporate tax rate. There's trillions of dollars out there worldwide, and we're still sitting at 35%, and all these other countries sitting at 9 to 12%. And if you're that type of a corporation with that much money, where are you going to go at? The places you're paying 9% or 35%, and that's what a lot of the fight in the Congress is right now. It's not getting out. I mean, that's what we have to start cutting back, not adding to the ceiling, and cutting this, back. Right now, at the end of this year, what they're saying now that about 70 cents out of every dollar is going to go into entitlements. That's what's going to break us. I mean, we can't afford to keep carrying all these people. I mean, these foreigners know exactly what to do. I mean, our welfare systems and stuff are so plugged up and everything. Our school systems, we got to hire all these interpreters and all that stuff. I mean, they should, make us speak English if they're going to be here.